While Crash Bandicoot is no stranger to Nintendo consoles, his original adventures from Naughty Dog have never seen a release on anything other than PlayStation consoles. But that's no longer the case thanks to the new Switch port of Vicarious Vision's excellent remake of those games in the N-Sane Trilogy collection. Now, I played Crash Bandicoot back in the PS1 era. If you owned the system, he was kind of hard to ignore as he was positioned as Sony's mascot at the time. And there's good reason for that, as the games are legitimately great. Well, at least in Crash 2 and 3's case. But after a long hibernation, the Bandicoot returned with a collection that sought to bring back the classic gameplay while updating the visuals and many of the mechanics. I loved the N-Sane Trilogy when I played it on the PlayStation 4, but how does the Nintendo Switch port compare? Content-wise, the games have everything that the PlayStation version included. All 3 games are here. Crash Bandicoot shows the origins of the marsupial as he seeks to rescue his girlfriend. Crash 2 focuses on series villain Neo Cortex tricking Crash into gathering powerful crystals for him, and Crash 3 takes place throughout time as he sets out to stop an evil mask by the name of Uka Uka. None of the games are especially story-heavy, but the cutscenes and interstitials in later games flesh out each of their personalities. It's an incredibly charming game, especially with the new visuals adding even more character to the entire cast. The Switch version also includes the cut levels from Crash 1 and 3 that could be downloaded in the PS4 release. Here, they're available immediately with no download necessary. Otherwise, the games are exactly the same. Crash works his way through hallway-like levels in order to reach the end, but there's also the extra challenge of breaking every box in that level in order to unlock special gems, many of which lead to new levels or even different paths in past levels. Crash 1 was the original idea that put many of these concepts in place, but death meant every box you destroyed returned. It was needlessly punishing and was thankfully fixed in the N-Sane Trilogy, making this version far superior to the original. Meanwhile, Crash 2 refined the formula and expanded Crash's moveset with a slide. Finally, Crash 3 introduced tons of variety with swimming levels, biplanes, jet skis, motorcycles, and more. It's easy to see the evolution of the series, but all 3 are a joy to play and can provide quite the challenge. However, lives tend to be plentiful, and there are lots of hints that lead you to each game's many secrets. Even playing it again on the Switch has led me to feel that familiar frustration. But even now, especially with these remakes, I never thought of the levels as unfair. But yes, this is on the Nintendo Switch, and it really is an excellent port. The textures have been downgraded slightly, objects in the distance will sometimes pop out of existence, and there is the very occasional graphical glitch, but performance-wise, the games run beautifully on the Switch. Not once did I see a hint of slowdown or stuttering whether the Switch was docked or in handheld mode. The controls are also as tight as ever, making for a natural fit whether I use the Joy-Con or the Pro Controller. Of course, when compared side by side, there is a noticeable difference between it and the PlayStation 4 visually, with less fur texture on Crash and a somewhat darker appearance, but the game still looks quite beautiful on the Switch. And in fact, the load times when changing between games on the Switch are much faster than the PlayStation 4. Now granted, this is comparing a digital release with a physical release, but the difference is still there. It made it super easy to just jump in and start playing. With its level-based gameplay and constant rewards, Crash makes for a really good fit for a portable console. And really, that's all that needs to be said. I love the N-Sane Trilogy on the Switch just as much as I did on the PS4. Now, if you're familiar with the games from that version, there's nothing new here besides the natural ability of the Switch to play anywhere, so it might not be worth double dipping. But for anyone who hasn't played Crash before, I highly recommend picking this up. It makes for a great port, and the graphical differences were minor enough for me that I ended up forgetting about them pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Crash and other things gaming.